Welcome everybody once again to a lovely, chilly Saturday here in the good old state of Michigan. I'm sitting here ready to talk to very special guests, of course. As always, all my guests are special though, but welcome and I appreciate you being here for another Let's Set the Tone here. First, to kind of talk a little bit about this week. This is technically the week of Stel. That's what I've been calling it, but it's been a great week overall for content. Starting with Sunday, thank you again to Outer Multiverse and Beta Ray Bob for having me on Into the Toy Box. That was a great conversation. They kind of dove into a little bit about my content creation and the stuff I've been doing over the last couple years, of course. That was a great talk. But then Wednesday, of course, we had Dungeon Banter over on Seven Dungeons channel, and Stel joined us for that as well. But Hova, Drasten, and myself were able to talk about the 13th Warrior. It was an awesome conversation. Definitely a lot of passion, a lot of great perspective on that movie in general, and kind of also in relation to the book too. So we kind of dove into that. That was awesome. And then, of course, here we are today to end the week and doing a Let's Set the Tone. And this will probably honestly be the last piece of major content that I do for the next week and a half, because as we kind of spin into the holiday, everybody's kind of busy. I don't want to bother people with stuff. So at the worst, I say just kind of keep out for maybe a World According to Tone paint stream hangout or whatever and get everybody involved there too. So, but that's what's been going on, at least right now. Outside, of course, I've been complaining about the cold, the winter time, and all that other shit. But enough of that. Everybody's heard about that. I do want to introduce our guests. As some of you may have already kind of seen him around, but none other than the man, the myth, the legend, in my opinion, at this point. Stel, welcome, my friend. Good to have you here for Let's Set the Tone. Are you armed? Was that what that was?
I'm armed and ready to go, man.
All
I'm
right,
ready
that's
for
what
whatever comes my way.
Fuck yeah. See, yeah, you can chop these questions right in half if you don't like them too. So no, I appreciate you being here. So let me ask this. I always start out with everybody. Like, for you, do you have any like other nicknames or any like AKAs, anything other than Stellalicious? I've heard go around a couple times.
Yeah, right. No, not really. And actually, it's funny because Stel came by with the Harbinger crew. That's something
Oh,
that
really?
Rob and everybody else kind of started. Um, it's a funny story when I guess we could start when I was living in Greece. You have to take a course of a different language, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I chose English, and when you go there, you have to change into an English name, right? So it was either Stan or Steve, and I chose Steve, right? So when I first moved to the States, I was going under the name Steve. So a lot of people would
Really?
call me Stevie D, back in the day, because my last name is Diamantopoulos. So that was my name back in the day. And then I got to college, and I'm like, you know what? I think people are grown enough to say my name here, So
Yeah.
started introducing myself as Stelios again, and just kind of took off. So but Stel is pretty recent, I'd say, So I got Stel and then Stellalicious, like you said. So
Stellalicious. What is Stel short for?
Stelios. So
Stelios. Okay.
that's the full name, yep. Or
Full name. Okay.
Stelio, according to if you're speaking about me to someone or if you're speaking directly to me. I don't know. Greek language is a little weird.
Interesting. That's interesting. Okay, no, that's cool to know that. I know you probably get asked this a lot, maybe you don't, but I don't know if you're a fan of Stavos, the comedian. Are you familiar with Stavi?
I think I've seen him. He does this one skit where he's talking with this one girl who I think is like Bulgarian or something, and he compares her to like a Greek revolutionary woman.
I think
And
that,
dude,
yeah.
it's a fitting image. Like, it's so funny because as soon as he says it, I'm like, he's 100% correct. Like
Yeah,
that's,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah. I just wondered if maybe you're familiar, because I mean, honestly, like the funniest thing about that is when I first saw your name pop up around, and I instantly knew, I'm like, I bet he's Greek for sure. And then I started getting to listen to Stavi, and of course he tells some of the greatest stories about, like, the Greek culture and different things about visiting and stuff like that. So I was like, man, I wonder if Stel's got some wild stories too, so maybe we'll find out. But
Yeah, right.
what's really neat though is, like, literally gosh, a mile and a half from me is the we have a Greek church. It's Saint
Mhm.
Demetrios, something like
Saint
that.
Demetrius. Yep.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
every year in our area, probably one of the most well-known and biggest
Greek
events,
festivals.
Greek
Right.
festivals,
There
man.
you go. Yeah.
And you know as well as I do that not only is the food amazing, but I love baklava. Like,
Mhm.
I fucking love baklava. So, I have to make sure I hit it up or get down there. I don't usually hang I'm too old for the drink tents and staying out all night and getting hammered,
Yes.
but
Mhm.
man, oh man, I gotta get some baklava or some, gyros or something because Jesus.
Yeah, that's all the good stuff right there.
Yeah, yeah,
But
and I know they let you go through the church and go through a tour. I've never actually gotten
mhm.
around to doing that because 'cause I'm the food line's so damn long, you're usually standing in an hour for a
Yeah,
tour,
right. Yeah,
so,
exactly.
but
See, our Greek festival has a drive-through that you like. They have you like pull up, take your order.
ah,
Like, yeah,
man.
it's established.
They only did that during, like, pandemic. They did do that, and that was great because,
Mhm.
like, I remember one day it was, like, downpouring, and I'm like, "Well, fuck, this is fucking awesome." Like, I'm just gonna
Yeah,
pull up
right.
and get some gyros, but no, that's cool. So
Funny thing to touch on too. Since we were talking about the 13th Warrior earlier this week, right? Um, and Eben, right? Remember how he's talking about introducing himself and he's saying
yeah,
all the different names and saying Eben. Well, my last name, Diamantopoulos. If the name ends in Opolis, that also is like son of, right? So it's a little funny little thing that kind of relates with kind of what we were
that's
watching, So
that's pretty fucking
if you ever
cool.
see like any Greek name ending in Opolis, it's basically like son of Diamantopoulos. Who knows? Maybe there was like a jeweler or something
No shit.
sometime somewhere down the line, and it was like diamond son of the diamond maker or something like that. Who knows? I don't even know.
That is pretty, gnarly. You could be royalty, you just might not know yet. I don't
Yeah.
know. I
Well,
don't
it's
know.
funny. It's quite a complicated story that I have with that because my originally my last name was something else, but it got switched when like my great grandfather like moved on over to Greece and stuff like way back in the day. But
That's pretty
that's deep.
history.
That's
Yeah, I was
that's
gonna
deep.
say history, yeah. I could talk history like that all day. That's cool. Maybe we'll have to have you sometime back on to talk about, like,
Oh man,
historical shit. Because
that's
I feel like you kinda
in the
like historical
beginning.
shit, right? Like, you're kind of into that shit, like historical
Oh
stuff
yeah.
and things of that nature?
I'm a big advocate of historical events. I'm
Mhm,
big into mythology, especially like, Greek mythology and
mhm.
other types of mythology as well, but my vast knowledge is mostly on the Greek stuff.
Right.
Um
That's
but
fair.
anything old like that, like yeah, your traditional superheroes, like Hercules or, Jason with the Argonauts and all that stuff. Like
Mhm.
I was always fascinated and intrigued by those stories. And I like the humanity of those stories too, because these are stories that were told prior to, I guess you could say, religion taking effect in
Yeah.
human history. Because then,
Mhm.
things kind of transferred from being like law and order or, like order and chaos into good and evil, like once kind of religion took a
Mhm.
hold. So, you kind of fell into the category of like, if you do this, you're good. If you do this, you're evil, and that's somehow like modern storytelling got turned into that too. Your
Right.
antagonist is always good and your evil guys are always evil, right? But something about those stories back in the day, even like old Irish folklore or Chinese or all that stuff, early Germanic stuff. It's not always a happy ending, right? There's always something that weighs heavy on the protagonist, or he's flaw of hubris or something
Right.
like that. So
Mhm, mhm.
that's always been something that I've been intrigued, but because it feels more real to me. So
Yeah, 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 I like that's a man, that's cool that you're really into that stuff. That's a good perspective too. Um, and honestly, like I feel like some of the best heroes and some of the best villain tales are the ones that are the most flawed and have to work
a
through
hundred
that, right?
percent,
I
yeah.
think I
Yeah,
feel like
because you
that's kind of
relate,
like
there's emotion in
there
that.
it is.
There's,
There's the
like
relation.
yeah.
Yep, yep. It's the relate. Yep, and I think that's why Captain America always resonates with people. Like if you strip a lot of the other things about how he looks and things like that, he is just a kid who wanted more from is it Queens? Was he from Queens or Brooklyn?
He's from,
Right,
Brook I think
New
Brooklyn.
New York area. I'm gonna put it like
Yeah,
that, man.
yeah.
That's over that area.
Well
But you know what I mean. But that he's so
mhm.
relatable to me, like as a superhero. Like I always just felt like, man, like he's got so much there. So,
It's funny
but
you mentioned that tone too, because Captain America is one of my favorite,
is he
superheroes from Marvel. Yeah,
awesome?
yeah, yeah, top 5 for
Cool.
sure.
Yeah.
I grew up loving Captain America because I'm a big World War II, I love everything
Oh,
World War II.
shit.
But B, I love the fact that he's a character out of time, right? So he was
Mhm,
somebody that had different morals and a different upbringing, and then he was brought into like, our time, right? So
mhm.
certain of those things play aspect into the character he is, right? And why he's so righteous, and why he defected at a certain time and all that.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
yeah, I love Captain America,
Yeah,
especially when the whole Brubaker run, with the assassination, and then
yeah,
Winter Soldier and all that
yeah, man.
stuff. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
so good.
You could even call him a capsicle. Anyways,
Yep.
the, my favorite part about all that, because I'm a big Punisher guy,
Okay.
and that can
Hmm.
sometimes come with a lot of baggage. I feel like with that too, especially this day and age. But
Yeah,
one of my favorite
I hate the new
things
logo.
about yeah, 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 the new logo's dope. I love how you're being a smartass. He he had the mask, and he gave it to Bucky after the assassination and all that stuff. And the thing I loved about that was he said, how much he had respect for Captain America. They didn't see eye to eye
Yep.
because they're how
Hmm.
they got things done, their ideology in that sense was different. But he respected Cap for holding to those
Oh,
values
dude.
because Punisher couldn't have those values. And I was like, that
Yeah.
entire page or two was just an absolutely amazing piece of like for Punisher, like in my opinion, after all that time, like more character growth. And I was like,
Hmm.
man, that's something that's solid.
Tone,
That's solid.
I'm probably 100% sure you've read this, but you've read the Civil War, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
One of the best scenes in that is when Punisher murks, I believe it's Jack O' Lantern and some other guy, right? That they supposedly were helping. You know how like there was the different sides, right? So it's when he saves Spider-Man from almost being killed, right?
Yeah.
And he brings him to those headquarters, and then there's some villains there. I don't remember which ones there were, but he ends up
Yeah.
killing him. And then Captain America gets pissed off and starts beating the shit out of him and is telling him to fight back. And he's like, no. And he's like, why not? He's like, not against you. So
Yes.
exactly what you said, like just that, made me
Comes
think
full
of that
circle.
moment in the
Yeah.
comment or in the comic when, he's getting the shit bit out of him by Captain America, and he won't
Right.
fight him just because he just respects the shit out of that man,
Right.
like.
It's fucking so cool. So cool. It's so cool. It's so cool. It looks like everybody out here in the chat is digging some of this stuff. We got a hell yeah, I love Cap as well. Endless out here saying, I don't know if you know Endless
Everybody's
maybe.
saying hi. What's up, guys?
Basically,
Yeah, I
yeah.
see
And he
everybody here.
says Jester, right? Jester, is that who it is? Jester? No.
Jester. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it is Jester. I think Jack O'Lantern is one of the guys he kills in the sewer when like he's trying to save Spidey.
Right on. Okay,
Jester,
cool,
yeah,
cool.
it's Jester and somebody else. Like, yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys popping in here. Well, I mean, we've already diverted because the talk's already
Yeah.
good because it's comics, right? So, but anything else recently you've been up to? Anything been going on good? I know a little bit, but how about yourself? Everything good? How's everything in life for you?
Everything in life is good, man. Most of the things that take up my time nowadays is the kids and work, pretty much.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
um, I get a little bit of time here and there to play with some toys, which is great. Haven't been really getting a lot of anything recently. Just picking up a few Joes here and there.
Right on.
Um, but yeah, man, just been working. We're getting ready for the holidays too, so got Thanksgiving coming up, so getting
All
ready
the
for
fun
that.
stuff. All the fun stuff.
And then prepping for Christmas, and then gonna start the new year. We got a lot of cool stuff with the new year, so I'm excited for all that happening. Um, so
Absolutely.
yeah, so just waiting for that.
Cool. Okay. Well, you kind of already touched base on it, but I do want to, of course, kind of start with, you kind of growing up. So you were born actually in Greece.
So I was actually I got a lot of back and forth, because
Yeah.
when I was born, my dad was currently going to college here in the States.
Oh,
So I
okay.
was born in San Francisco, California.
Oh, right on.
Moved to Greece when I was 2, moved back to the United States, and then moved back to Greece when I was 4. And then stayed there pretty much for the 90s. So I was there up until the end of 98.
Okay.
So all my elementary school years were in Greece. So
Okay. Okay. Cool. And what was that like? I mean, growing up in Greece. I mean, I guess is it a lot of similarities? Probably not really. I feel like the United States always kind of does its own thing. But like, what was that like for you growing up in school over there?
it was it wasn't that growing up and being that little, you don't really focus, I think, very much on the differences. And plus, I was such a young age too that I didn't quite remember the back and forth up until we kind of just stayed there for
Yeah.
the long period of time. But the one thing that really, resonates with me in, from my childhood memory is the fact that, my uncle Peter, who I pretty much owe like all my love for all this stuff to, he'd come and visit me pretty much every summer. It'd be him and my grandma would always come and visit. And when he would come and visit, he would bring VHS tapes of, all the Fox Kids stuff that was going on at the time, right?
Oh, no shit.
So I remember, watching, like the Batman animated series,
Oh yeah.
Rambo was, some stuff he recorded, some Thundercats was on there. So Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Iron Man, all that cool stuff that was happening at the time, right? Plus some funny stuff too. Like there was Dr. Pepper commercials, and I remember being little, like, what is that soda? Like I need to, I, we didn't have that in Greece. So,
Right.
um, so it was cool in that aspect, and then at the same time, he was also bringing me a lot of the Toy Biz Marvel stuff, right? So I was getting a lot of the Spider-Man animated series toys, X-Men. I had the X-wing, and I had Galactus from the Fantastic Four.
Damn.
So that was really cool for me because at the time, and living in Greece, a lot of my relatives and even my parents, right? It wasn't like toys weren't a necessity. So it was something
Hmm.
that was always like, you don't need that, like, no, you can, if you have one, you have enough. And plus, like, also, like, it was at a weird time because like fantasy wasn't really something that was okay to be into, it was kind of frowned upon, like, the whole devilish take on it, so
Oh
it
yeah.
wasn't something
Yeah.
like, like if you showed interest in, your parents or your relatives would be like, you don't want to, you don't follow that satanic stuff or, whatever have you. So,
Right.
it wasn't like, I guess you could say it was kind of frowned upon liking fantasy, especially at the time in Greece, but nonetheless, comics and action figures and all that stuff played a big role into me growing into liking fantasy and everything else. So
Gotcha. Okay. So that's how. So your uncle was basically like the one
yeah,
that like was your venue or the way to pave that for you was like being able to
yeah,
bring all that stuff for you. Wow, that's
yeah.
pretty awesome. Did he get shit from your parents for bringing all that stuff to you at all, or
No, no, it was great. I don't think they really minded because I was so, I would leave them alone, right? So I guess to them it was a win.
right,
Like I would just
right.
spend hours upon hours just playing with the action figures. And then too, like I remember it was the summer of 96, right? And I had gotten that Galactus and we had this like big battle royale when it was like, like we each picked like all the figures, right? And then we would fight it against each other and there would be one victor and then all the victors would face Galactus, right? So it was like this
Hmm.
big epic battle that we had planned out. Just fun stuff, man. This
That's
is,
cool.
just what made that childhood memorable and enjoyable.
Yeah, yeah. Were you so you're kind of a funny guy. I've caught onto that. I don't know if you maybe know that about yourself, but were you a well-behaved kid at all, or did you get yourself into some shit?
I was well behaved up until my teenage years, I guess you could say. That's I was definitely more rebellious as a
That's to say you
teenager.
rebelled a little bit. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was getting into a lot of mischief, and some trouble. So I guess you could say I grew into being a
Okay.
little more rebellious.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So you're talking about all the stuff your uncle's bringing you, and of course, you're getting some of the good stuff. You're talking about like the Batman animated series, which we all know, and we should all know that's one of the best cartoons ever be made.
Oh,
But right. So when he's bringing you this stuff, I mean, you already kind of talked about how Cap was something that you just kind of love and kind of gravitated towards. Like, was there any specific toys or maybe things he brought you that even to this day is like this is still one of my favorite things, or this was my favorite then, or whatever that looks like?
I guess my favorite, man, and I've talked about this in the past. It was from the Spider-Man Toy Biz animated series line. They had done, I think it was either in their Wave One or Wave Two set, but they had done this super articulated Spider-Man, which for the time was like amazing, right? It had,
Mm-hmm.
like rotating hands and you can lift him all over the place and pose him. And he had actually, he was like a GI Joe. He had the O ring inside, right? So
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
pose them up and do all sorts of
Yep.
crazy stuff with them. So to me, that was at the time I was like infatuated with that figure.
Mhm.
And I remember as we were getting ready to move to the States, I was playing with my sister, my younger sister, and she dropped it from like 2 stories, right? And that thing just hit the ground and just exploded in a million pieces, and with it, all my love that I had for my sister.
I was gonna say, this
And
last time you
no,
talked to
no,
her.
no, I'm just
Right.
kidding. But no, I remember, and that was the end of that. And I never got another one. But to this day, I remember that. I played so much with that toy, so that
Yeah.
is one of my most favorite toys
Cool.
from my childhood.
Did that is Spider-Man one of your favorites still, or was he
Yes.
even then? Yeah, okay.
Oh yeah, yeah. I love Spider-Man. I love the old Spider-Man, I guess. The
Mhm.
old whole how you kind of like, I'm a Tobey Maguire guy. I guess
Thank
going
you.
back
All right, there we go.
and
That's all I needed to
going back
hear.
and watching those movies, I know it's not the best, but
Ah,
to me
still
that is the best
magic.
representation of Spider-Man because again, it's relatable. It falls into
Mhm.
that category of, the struggle that we
Mhm.
as humans face, and that's what made Marvel so great and differentiated it from
Right.
DC because the characters were relatable in Marvel.
Mhm.
DC, they're
Mhm.
all like crazy. Fucking, I need kryptonite bullets to kill Superman.
Right.
Like, all right, rant over.
Yeah. No, no. Hey, listen, I'm a Toby guy, and maybe it's because of our age. I don't know. That might be part of it, but like, I'm a Toby guy. I love the '60s vibe of that, like the old school kind of Peter Parker vibe and the kind of
Yes.
cheesiness of it.
Yeah.
I do feel like Andrew Garfield does bring about the like the quirkiness and the jokes really well of the
Yes. The
Spider-Man
jokes are
side of
way
it.
better. Yes.
Yeah, and I do think that Tom Holland does a pretty good job of encompassing a little bit of all of that personally.
See, I feel
But
like Tom Holland is a great representation of like modern day Spider-Man.
Yes, yes, I think that's
Like
fair.
that's
Yeah.
like, yeah, like when they kind of changed him up into being a little like looking more like a high school kid,
Yeah.
and kind of dealing with that aspect of it where we kind
Mhm.
of, I feel like when we catch Spider-Man, we catch him as he's like kind of getting out of high school into college,
Mhm.
so he's into that in later stage. He's dealing with, the struggle of needing a job, paying
Yeah.
bills,
Yeah.
relationship problems, all that stuff, so,
Yeah.
um,
No, you're right. I
no,
don't
but I
know.
love, I love Spidey, good old Peter Parker, man.
Just watched the first Raimi 2 recently. Probably about 4 or 5 months ago now, just because I hadn't watched him in a while. And because Spider-Man's one of my all-time favorite, period.
Hmm.
If not like it's really hard. I go back and forth. I usually say Spawn, but like
Oh,
Spider-Man's so close that it's really quite hard to differentiate sometimes. Because you'll see a lot of Spider-Man stuff around here too. But those I'm a big Raimi guy anyways, so I'm probably a little biased, but whatever.
yeah,
So,
right, yeah.
but
I love Spawn. I remember seeing advertisements for that, when I was living in Greece, when they were gonna play it, because my parents weren't gonna take me to see that movie, so.
yeah, yeah, no,
And
yeah,
funny story again, when I first moved here, HBO had that animated series, right, of Spawn? It's
fucking awesome.
one of the like, that's a masterpiece of,
Yes.
to this day of
Mm-hmm.
Spawn.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I got my parents to rent it for me from Blockbuster, back in the
Yeah.
Buster days. Um and I'm watching that scene where like Fat Tone, I think was his name in it. No
Yeah.
offense,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah. Yeah.
mobster guy.
Yep. Oh
And
yeah.
he's like totally with those prostitutes. And my mom happens to walk in like right at that scene, right? And I'm like, I didn't know this was what was all
Right.
this.
Right. Right.
I
Right.
swear I didn't know. No, don't turn it up. No.
And one of the best things about that series is one of the goats when it comes to voice acting. One of my favorite just actors in general, Keith David, doing the
Oh,
voice of Alan Spawn. Man, God, that series is
dude.
so good. We deserve more of that. Honestly, he could still do it too. He could still do it.
Now
We need
move or
more.
be moved. Oh, there's so many like one-liners in that. And
Yeah.
see, I'm a sucker for that stuff. I think
Yeah.
that's what made like 80s movies, even in the 90s, right? Like if you just
Mhm.
had like quirky punchlines, yeah, that shit nowadays might be corny and stuff, but oh, I
I
love that
know.
stuff. Like,
I agree.
like Blade 1 had like some of the best, like he's not all he's doing is just delivering one-liners in that
You're right.
whole movie,
Well,
dude.
why some motherfuckers always trying to ice skate
Yeah.
uphill? Yeah,
Yeah,
or whatever.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Or in
Classic.
Blade 2, he's like, "Oh, so you guys been prepping to, like, take me out your whole lives, and now you get the chance. Ooh, so exciting." It's like, dude, like, just
I
that's all
know.
it is. He's just dropping one-liners the whole movie. He's
It
like,
helps that Wesley Snipes' delivery on that shit just happens to be on point
"Oh,
because if you think about a lot of the movies he's in, like White Man Can't Jump is one of my all-time
oh,
favorite fucking
dude.
films,
Yep.
and it's nothing but fucking one-liners from like him
Mhm.
and Woody Harrelson, dude.
That's
So
Dude, that's what made certain movies great, dude. And
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I to this day, you drop a good like one-liner, I will
You're
applaud.
yeah, you will applaud. I do wanna hit the chat real quick because Jay does ask a very important question here. Which is a better animated series, Batman, Spider-Man, or X-Men? That's a very, very
Man,
that's tough. I think that I think I know the answer to that personally right off the gate.
me
And
too.
I can lightly explain why, but you go ahead first.
I'm gonna go with X-Men.
Okay.
X-Men was raw, dude. I mean, first and foremost, I love the animation, right? Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, they're all had great animation.
Yeah,
All
they're
had
all
great
great. They're
animation.
all great, absolutely.
Um, but X-Men, dude, there was just we got so much story. I mean, but that's this I don't even know, dude. Like just X-Men, the
That's
emotions
fair.
were different with that series.
Okay. See, and this is crazy, but I actually think Batman's the best out of all of them. I think that
Yeah.
storytelling wise, I think Batman's pantheon of villains, and I do think
Mhm.
Spider-Man's got a great pantheon of villains as well. Just having this conversation this week, but Batman's villains, the storytelling in that, the art design, the darkness of it, like Kevin Conroy, fucking Mark Hamill, to me, just
Yeah, I mean,
everything.
oh,
It's
dude,
like the
that's
perfect storm of, and I love Batman's about the only thing really in DC that I really love. 'Cause Batman's such a great story, even though he's really not that relatable. But still, it's just a great
exactly, yeah.
story. That animated series, good God, and I
See,
love the X-Men.
I guess
So
Batman for me, it still kind of fell under that cartoon because like he had that episode with freaking Condiment Man, like so
yeah,
like to me is like, there was that quirkiness of it that I don't know, man. X-Men was just like so raw, like all these episodes, right?
ah,
Like you have the ones where they go back in time and they're like discriminated on, and then with the
yeah,
Sentinels,
all the
and
stuff
then
with
you got the
Forge.
Phoenix Saga. You went
Yeah,
all over the place, man. I don't know. Yeah,
I
it's
think
hard though. Like I don't disagree with you, Tone. Like I honestly don't. I feel like
That's a
Batman was
hard that's a
great. Yeah,
great I mean, that is a good question. That's why it is a good question. I think
yeah.
Spider-Man is the weakest of the 3 and as a big Spider-Man fan because they changed some of the origin stuff involving Venom, which it was fine for
Hmm.
the series and different stuff, but
Yeah,
it also, like, you got Carnage in it, but, like, you can't really do a character like that great justice. Like, you can get
yeah,
away with doing,
exactly.
like, a PG-13 Joker kind of in a cartoon like
And
that for
here's the thing
Batman.
with Spider-Man too, it had this weird contract where, like, they couldn't show Spider-Man, like, throw a punch because of, like, and, of course, too, like, there
Oh,
was no gun
shit, I didn't
violence,
think of
right?
that.
So
Yeah,
everything was, lasers and stuff, but
yeah.
if you pay attention, like, I don't think
I didn't
Spider-Man
know
ever
that.
really throws like, it was something weird like that, right? Where he couldn't throw a punch. So, like, everything is either, like, he's shooting the webs and hitting people with, or, like, it's like a kick or,
Yeah.
like, something like that. So, don't get me wrong, I love Spider-Man too. I mean, I'm with you. They changed some stuff, but for the most part, it was pretty good. Like, the intro song is amazing. I love that
Oh
whole
god, yeah. I
yeah,
mean, all of them, all
you
3
know?
of them are I mean, I think
All 3
X-Men
of
out of
them?
all of them wins probably the intro, and even though I love the Batman one too, but the
Yeah.
X-Men intro is
X-Men intro is the best, but
yeah, yeah.
the one that's the top for me is 2nd season of Iron Man when they changed the animation, and it, like so if you remember the 1st season, the Mandarin has,
Yeah,
like, all 10 rings and all that. So the
yeah, yeah,
2nd season picks up with like other stories. They changed the animation. The animation looked dope as hell. Like it was so good. And in the beginning, it had that whole scene where like Tony's with the long hair and he's building the suit and he's striking the anvil, and it's like metal and it's like, I am Iron Man. I
Oh,
don't know if you're,
yeah, I think I
oh,
do
dude,
remember that now, you're
it
gonna make
is
me have to look
so
it up.
good. It is so good.
That's awesome.
And that series was great because each episode would end with the Mandarin finding one of the rings. Oh, dude, it was, like, so good, like, and that was with the Armor Wars was on that, and they're like, oh,
Yeah,
great
yeah, yeah,
stuff,
I do remember some of that
great
stuff
stuff.
then. Yeah, see, I don't think I watched that as much as some of the other stuff, and, was that this thing one of the things, now I'm thinking about it too, I think part of the reasons where X-Men frustrated me was Fox's fault because they would replay so much of them, they wouldn't always do them in order.
In
So if they
order,
started like a
exactly.
small arc, it would
Mhm.
jump around and you weren't getting the full story. And
It
some
wasn't
like I
that,
felt like I saw the same 4 episodes constantly,
it used to
like
be that you didn't
constantly.
have transparency when, like, right, when the new stuff would air, right? They wouldn't be like,
Hmm.
"New episodes coming," or, like, eventually they got to that point, but
Hmm.
what ended up happening, I feel, is, like, episodes, they would play the episodes until they ran out, and then they're like, "Oh, shoot, like, we're out, so we're just gonna replay episodes until the new stuff comes out," and then all of a sudden they'll just pick
Constantly
up, and it's like, ugh,
drove me nuts.
you know?
Drove me nuts. Yeah. Britt, I do want to go back. Britt did this is in relative to the Spider-Man talk. She called Stel, aka the guy with terrible live action Spider-Man opinion, because she's a big Andrew Garfield fan.
Yeah, I know.
That's
A
pretty
lot of
funny.
people like Garfield. I didn't. I they weren't my favorite movies. I didn't really like, like how the villains were portrayed in those movies that much. But I will say that the quirky the one-liners and stuff like that was like 100% Spider-Man for me.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Agreed, agreed. Julie does bring up Gargoyles. That is one of my
ooh,
all-time favorite cartoons,
oh my
and
god,
anything too. That cartoon is so
why
much
hasn't
more
that come
adult
back?
than I don't. Well, they did some. I think they did some
I think they're
comics or
doing,
something like
yeah,
that
they're doing
too.
comics.
And
Yes,
by the way, who does the voice for Goliath in that
Goliath.
as well?
Yep.
Yeah, Keith David once
Yes.
again, the man. Awesome. So I should probably get us back a little bit on track, but that was some important. That was a great question, Jehovah. That was an important question that we were able to hopefully in some way answer to you. So you talked about your uncle being kind of this gateway for a lot of these nerddoms and stuff. And that, what was it that maybe specifically got you into maybe fantasy, or really, saying, hey, this is really something I'm into? And was that at an early age as well too? Did that open up like a almost like a pathway for you there, or like the floodgates?
Yeah. As far as fantasy goes, yeah, I mean, it was always something that I was fascinated in. One of the movies that to this day is one of my favorites is Willow, right? That's something that I vividly remember from my childhood
Yeah.
watching and really being into, right? I really loved all of that. Um and then too, through comic books, all the advertisements that they had, like when they would advertise something that, Frazetta did a book cover for, or like I showed you those D&D advertisements that they'd have for like new game editions and stuff, or advertising some fantasy artists, like Beasley or Brom, all those
Hmm.
guys, I'd always gravitate towards that, right? And it wasn't until my later years where I was kind of like, okay, like I really like this stuff. Like, who is making this stuff, right? Because like as a kid, you don't really focus, like, or at least I didn't really focus on the artist aspect of what I was
Right.
looking at. I always enjoyed it, and at the time, I wish I was intrigued by that because then I could have, I guess, further dove into that realm. But it wasn't until I kind of moved back into the States where I had more access to that stuff. And then also growing up playing fantasy, so like, being in the 90s or early 2000s with Blizzard, I played Diablo 1 and 2 and Warcraft, StarCraft, all that
Hmm.
stuff. I
All
was
the
a
good
big,
stuff.
big Blizzard fan at the time,
Hmm.
because it was an
Hmm.
early company. The developers were dope. Samwise was doing some crazy artwork for him. As well as I forgot who else. Metzen, one of my favorite guys too. I love his art. Um, so that was really like a big gateway for me into
Hmm.
fantasy. And then Lord of the Rings came out. And I love that stuff too. But the funny thing is, I always loved that stuff and had a small group of friends that were into that to a certain degree, like everybody likes, I guess that stuff too in
Hmm.
different levels, of course, and that's totally
Absolutely.
fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But, um, with social media too, like I didn't realize until later on too that there's communities on there that you can kind of join that like all the same stuff as you, right?
Hmm.
So I was kind of that lone wolf where like, I heavily gravitated towards old fantasy and action and adventure and all that stuff, and later on going online and be like, holy shit, there's other weirdos like me on here that
Right.
love it, right? Like
Right. 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 Right.
so
Right.
it's cool to just talk about this stuff.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. And so I feel like Lord of the Rings was a great, like, it just
Oh.
made it so fantasy was really the first
Mhm.
time that fantasy was like super mainstream. And I think that was like jump on point for a lot of people for now modern day fantasy. And I
A
also
hundred
think that was
percent.
part of the reason why Dungeons and Dragons ironically is so important, because Dungeons and Dragons it exists because of like Lord of the Rings, right? So like
Mhm.
it's ironic that it did that, because when you look at 2000s growth, especially with like Lord of the Rings around that time, that's when they started getting to like 3 and 3.5 editions of D&D. and they really kind of like laxed on some of like the hardcore rules that second edition had, and let people have more like control of like how they built their characters. So Lord of the Rings was a great time frame for all of that because like you said, you're talking about these Blizzard games that are coming out that are really important, like World of Warcraft or Warcraft, or any of
Mhm.
that sort of stuff as well. Um so as far as that time frame or around then too, or I guess I don't know if you probably didn't play it over there, but did you get into D&D at all as a kid, or have you played much D&D, or what does that look like for you?
So unfortunately, I never had a chance to play D&D. I never had any friends that were really into it. I always was intrigued by the stories because I read the what is it, the Driz Chronicles that they
Dritz.
had done they had done the or not animated series. They had done a comic book series.
They did. Very
Yep.
underrated. Yeah, not a lot of people talk
So,
about
oh,
that.
dude,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
great.
pretty
Anybody
awesome.
that's out there and wants like a good visual
Mhm.
representation with the story, it's one of the best ones
It's
out there.
awesome.
And that's my introduction to that character too, right? And how I got to
Mhm.
know about him. So I was always into the stories and all the lore that was going on with D&D.
Mhm.
I just never had the chance to play anything. The furthest I've ever gotten with playing something tabletop wise was Magic the Gathering. So, and again, that
It's a good
was
one
more
too.
so because I really love the artwork, right? So the artwork representation, like Gerald Braun, like did a lot of stuff on there, and Beasley as
Mhm.
well. Um, and I was always, fascinated by the art.
Yeah,
I
you're
did
very
not see
you take
anything.
a lot of passion when it comes to the artist itself. I love that about you. You're always talking about different artists, and that's what draws you in, that visual. Let's
Yeah. Oh
notice
yeah,
that.
100%. I have one too here that another one is Arroyo. I don't know if you know his work, but he
Mhm.
did this awesome piece that I have to have. It's like life taking over again, and it's like this um kind of looks like a post-apocalyptic town, right?
Mhm.
But then there's all these kind of trees growing, and then these
Yeah,
like
I love
unicorns are
those
out and
scenes. Yeah,
frolicking,
that's
so
awesome.
it kind of shows how like fantasy is kind of taking hold again, right?
Yeah,
So
that's cool.
um but yeah, I always and again, that's me really trying to value what these
Mhm.
people do, right? Because this is a piece of art that everybody looks at and admires, and it brings out emotions in different people. I think it's just as important to highlight the person that did it, right? And what
Mhm.
was going through their mind when they were doing that. What inspires them to create artwork like that. So I guess that was like the next chapter of me, is like what I'm interested in.
Right. Right. Okay. No, that's cool. Man, that's wild. You haven't played any D&D. Do you get down on board games or anything like that? Magic the Gathering is a great, way to kind of get into a lot of that realm as well too. But like, I know there's a lot of like fantasy based board games that are huge these days. You ever mess around with anything like that, or is that
No,
hard to kind of?
the only thing that I ever really played that was, other than your typical like, Monopoly and all that kind of stuff, yeah, right.
Monopoly? Yeah. Oh God, my
I had
favorite
gotten
game.
this game. I still have it actually. It was this zombie game. Like it was a
Is it
um
a zombie side, something like that?
zombie side, yeah, something like that. So you get to draw like map pieces, right? So you get to build the board game per se,
Okay.
right?
It's got the
And then with each
tiles.
map piece, yeah, it's basically, yeah, it's like
Yeah.
squares
Yeah.
and stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah.
you build up, and then each square says like this square has X amount of zombies, X amount of ammo, X amount of health. So it's basically like a zombie survival game. And that's I guess the extent of something tabletop involving characters
That's
and all
fair.
that. Um,
It's
for
also a
me at
little.
least. So yeah.
It's difficult because you play an analog game like that too. You got to have people with the time to be able to come over and do that, and that's not always
Right.
convenient for anybody either. So I totally understand that. But well, shoot. Well, that's awesome. I appreciate you kind of sharing kind of like your gateway into a lot of your nerddoms here. So so you moved to the what year did you say you moved to the U.S.? Was it late '90s?
98. Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so you get over here. Were you still in high school, or did you finish high school at that point?
So I was in middle school at the time.
Okay. Okay.
So when I first got here, I was in sixth grade.
Okay. Okay. Oh, right on. Okay. So I
So
knew you were. I knew you were. Yeah, that's about right. I kind of mathematically in my head trying to figure out to where you were age wise with me. Um, so so you get over here. How was that transition for you? Being over here at that kind of age. I know that can be kind of rough for kids at that
yeah,
age, things of that nature. But was that all right for you, or did you have any struggles with that?
it was a little tough, just kind of trying to acclimate yourself to how, lifestyle is in a different place, right?
Yeah, yeah.
um, but all in all, it was a good experience. Just kind of trying to learn the language a little bit, or the slang, I guess you could say, and
That's a tough one,
you
right?
know, doing my division tables the American way instead of the European way. uh,
Fucking
realizing
math.
that something that you use to wipe something out is an eraser, not a rubber here. Uh,
That's funny because it says rubber right on the erasers
yeah,
too.
right. Yeah.
It's fucking
But little
hilarious.
things like that, it wasn't, a drastic change. And again, too, I was taking English, or the Queen's English, not, American English,
Right,
while I
right.
was in Greece too. So that helped me out a lot, with the language. It wasn't like I came here and I was, barely speaking any English. So,
Right on.
and then, living in Greece, I speak Greek mostly out when I'm out and about, and then at home I'd speak English with my parents or my mom. So I had a lot of practice with the languages. So,
Awesome. Good, good. Did you so when you get over here, I mean, were you I mean, I just feel like with your personality and your funny shit, like did you gravitate towards friends? Were you able to make friends easy or was that a struggle too or
I had a little hard time making friends.
yeah.
I'm not the engaging type, like
Mhm.
I have a very few friends. so um so I had a little bit of trouble with that, just because I couldn't engage. And then also, like, I'm not great at, coming up with topics that everybody's interested in, I guess you could say. So that, that was a little hard for me. But
Gotcha.
I made some good friends, some friends that I'm still, in contact with to this day.
Awesome.
So you know, plus two, being Greek and being in the States too, you have communities. So, you have a lot of kids that you grew up with, because you're going to the same church every Sunday. We would have, Greek meetings and different gatherings for different events, so I have a lot of friends too that, I grew up because of being Greek, right? So,
Mhm.
um,
Awesome.
so it wasn't bad, and they helped me out a lot too with, uh, my buddy Nico, him and his brother George, like we both, like all three of us played a shit ton of Diablo and StarCraft, so all three of us were big into Blizzard at the time. So
Cool.
that's why, know, sleepovers and stuff like that, and just spend all night playing video games and, eating Cheerios and stuff like crazy.
Yeah, that
Like,
that is those are the moments I feel like that if we could just pause in time and relive those nights where you're with your
oh
friends,
man,
you're crashing at one of their places or your
yep,
place or whatever it is, you're playing
worry
video
free,
games, yeah, you're drinking sodas, you're drinking
yep,
snacks or eating snacks and having pizza, man. That was the sweet spot in life,
the
I wish
good
I could
old
get that
days,
back.
yeah,
The good old days, yeah. For other generations, the good old days might have been playing with a stick or kicking a can down the road, but
yeah, right,
for
exactly,
us, it was that perfect time when, like for me, like Super Nintendo was big that era, or Nintendo.
yeah,
We'd everybody bring all their games and stay overnight and we
hmm
just fucking jam on the sticks all night. So hell yeah, hell yeah. So well, you clearly have done, some of the best stuff in life, which is you've got an awesome family. You see some of the pics of the kids out there, adorable kids, by the way.
thank you,
So
thank you.
yeah, so you're living the good life. So how did you end up meeting your wife? Was that like high school or was that like later in life?
No, it was definitely later in life. The funny thing with my wife is, we've been to events at the same time, but we never met at those
Oh,
events,
it's one of
so,
those. Okay.
and another funny thing is we're both from the West Coast, right? She's from Seattle. I
Oh,
was in
okay.
California. Um, and we happened to meet over here in the Carolinas where I'm currently at. So,
Wow.
so funny story, like we never actually met at that time, but we met over here in the Carolinas, and after talking, we're like, oh yeah, I was there. Oh yeah, I was there. So,
Right.
but yeah, we met here, hit it off right away. You know, got married right at the time of the pandemic, so it was right before COVID like hit, over here big time. So we had a pandemic baby, and my first son George, he was a pandemic baby born 2020.
Oh shit.
And then my daughter born in 2023. So Yeah, just living the American dream. We're over here in the Carolinas, nothing,
Cool.
nothing out of the ordinary. Just trying to keep up with everything going on in modern
Right.
day, and
Right. Right. And
take care of the kids, make sure that they're fed.
yep, that's number one
Crazy
priority.
being in charge of somebody, like, you're like, "Man, I didn't realize it'd be so hard to feed somebody." Like, it's a necessity, bro. Come on.
It is, isn't it? You're right. You're right. And how has that been for you? Has fatherhood been something like you felt like you acclimated to really easily, or has that been
Oh.
like kind of a struggle for you? Or are you just like, no, this is easy. You just got to make sure they're fed.
Oh, it's great. I mean, fatherhood is great. I would be a goddamn liar if I said that I was like, "Oh, I'm so ready for this. I got this 100%."
Right.
To anybody out there that does, kudos to you, salute, because yeah, I don't, it's a constant struggle. Try not to
Mm.
lose your shit. Uh, but
Right. Right.
I love it, man. I love it, and I got it exactly like I wanted. I want a little boy and I want a little girl. And I
Perfect.
was blessed to have that. Um, it's a daily struggle. It's a new perspective on life also, because you get to witness somebody just learning everything for the first time, right? So whenever I kind of do end up getting frustrated, I tend to remember that, and it
Hmm.
helps me out a lot. But
Hmm.
I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I don't even remember a time where I didn't have my kids, so
Right.
I don't even remember what it's like. So it's crazy. Once they kind of become part of your life, and your routine. So
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
feel blessed. I feel blessed, and I'm very happy. And uh, you know, just trying to be the best dad I can. You know.
That's that trying is all you can do in that sense, right? And it sounds like, I mean, like I said, you see the pictures. You're raising a martial artist now. Apparently, I see that.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. So that's got to be pretty sweet to when they get to that point where they're starting to like do things like that, right? I'm assuming so.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it's those milestone achievements. That's something that
Hmm.
just makes you proud. As they're kind of moving along through life and stuff. And
Yeah.
I just hope he doesn't use it against me at any time. Because I can take him still, but as he gets older,
Right. Right.
the,
Right.
the
Right.
the percentage just goes down and down.
Right. Right.
So
Right. Yeah. He's training so
yeah.
early. You're gonna start getting arm bars when he's like 8. In
Exactly, yeah.
trouble.
He's gonna challenge me. I'm gonna be out, like, trying to get out of the couch, just throw my back out in that moment.
Right,
Like,
right, right, right.
"Ah!"
Right, right.
Like
You'll have to pick and choose your battles at
Yeah,
that point.
exactly, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, does is your wife like nerdy like you, or is she just like, yeah, that's my grown ass men child husband? What is that
Yep,
like with
yeah,
her?
I'm the man child.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
not into the fantasy aspect stuff. I still have to have her sit down and watch Lord of the Rings because she's like, "Yeah, I don't like that movie," and I'm like, you gotta watch that movie, all right? I know there's no romantic stuff going on in it, but
Depends on.
I mean, come on.
I don't know. I mean, you got Aragorn,
To a
Arwen.
woman's
That's
to a woman's liking, for us, it was enough, right? For me, it was like, "Oh
right,
my god, like, I got plenty," right? I didn't need any more, but
right,
to her, it's
right.
like, "Oh, there's no real love story going on." I'm like, "Dude, like, come on." But
I don't know. Once you look into Galadriel's eyes, there's a love story for everybody,
yeah,
I think, in my opinion. But
exactly.
okay. So that I kind of wonder if that was a
She
dynamic there.
doesn't understand that elven love, right? She
I
doesn't
that's
understand, like,
so
the
important.
the the length of years that they live
Right,
and how they
right,
feel,
right,
like
right. That's funny. I had to sit down and have Britt watch Lord of the Rings because she wasn't into the fantasy either. And I said, trust me, you just got to watch these. And then I think I've hooked her on them now because either way, usually around my birthday every year now, one of my birthday traditions is we have to go through the entire weekend of my birthday and watch the extended versions.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, so they get a weird yearly watch now too, and I think she takes more away from it every time she watches. Or at least I like to think so. But I mean, they're really, I mean, just from storytelling and character development,
Oh,
everything that is the best entry I think to anybody to say if you can enjoy that, then it's time you have to open up your mind to maybe the rest of the fantasy. So you
mhm,
might, it might change if you get a chance to
exactly,
watch
yeah.
it. And they got to be the extended. They have to
Oh,
be the
yeah. I
extended.
mean, there's no other way. That's
Right.
all that's the only ones I personally own are the
Right.
extended versions.
Right. Yeah.
And I can't wait until, my son and his cousin are at that right age, right, where I could just show him and they can appreciate that movie for all its
Hmm.
length. Because I feel like he's still a little young, he's 5 right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dialogue that happens in that movie, right? And you gotta kinda follow it along, with the action. The action's great, but, it's
Hmm.
not all the only thing that drives that movie, so, I
You're
can't
right.
wait to show it to them, so
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's nice to be able to look out, have that kind of outlook with those kind of things, and kind of do what your uncle did, right? You know, he ushered you into a lot of great
Yeah,
stuff, and then you can do the same thing too. It's like
yeah.
kind of keeping that tradition alive. So it's
Oh,
awesome.
100%, 100%.
Um, does your wife? Does she think you're funny? Does she find you funny, or
She finds me funny. Yeah, I can. I'm pretty good with the one-liners. You know, like
yeah?
I got her good the other day. It was still it was during Halloween, right? And I was at what is it, Aldi or not Aldi?
Hmm.
Yeah, Aldi's, and they had this witch's broom, right? So I texted her seriously. I'm like, hey, where's your car right now? And she's like, what do you mean? I'm at work. I'm like, where's your car? Like, can you see your car? She's like, no, why? And I'm like, can you check and see if your car is with you? Because I see it right here. And she's like, what do you mean? And this and that. So I was like playing. I'm like, dude, I see your car right here. Make sure that you see like your car's there. And she's like, I don't understand what you're saying. And then I send her a picture of the broomstick, right? It's like, and she's like, screw you. So I like to think I'm funny. I
Full
don't know if
setup.
I am, but
Full
like
setup. Full setup. That's awesome. No, that's committed to the bit. Good for you. I
yeah,
applaud you, sir. I
yes.
applaud you on that. I applaud you.
Thank you. I
Uh,
try. I do. I put effort into certain things.
you have to. You have to.
But
Uh,
here too, like this, what you see right behind me here, my
yeah.
toy setup and everything. This is in my master bedroom. So funny story, kind of how married life goes. And here's an introduction to anybody that is thinking about it. If you have a toy room, you got a 3-bedroom house with a toy room in it, right? And
Hmm.
you decide to get married, and then you decide to have kids or a kid, right? So you move that one toy room into the other room, right? So that leaves you one bedroom for the kid, your toy room, and then your master bedroom, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Perfect.
then you decide to have 2 kids, right? Well, guess what? That toy room is irrelevant at this point. But luckily, she was like, "You can put the stuff in our bedroom." So I try to walk that fine line of not pissing her off too much because at any given time, she can just cut that privilege off, I guess.
That's true. Or go over to like a fucking cat and just start
But
swatting it
yeah,
off the. Yeah.
but if
Okay.
she ever says that, I just pull a Leonardo DiCaprio, and I'm just like, I'm not fucking leaving. They're not fucking leaving.
Thank you for quoting one of my all-time favorite movies, by the way, as well, too. So,
Yeah.
I watch that movie almost every fucking month. I'm
Yes.
obsessed
Whoever
with that
said I
fucking
need a
movie.
basement, I do. But I'm on a freaking slab, so I
Yeah, I
can't
was gonna
have a
say
basement.
in the South, those are kind of rare too, especially in I think states where like some of the areas are lower than sea level. Probably not a good idea. I think that's
No,
probably
I'm
a
in
good
a
thing.
I'm in an okay. I mean, there's they do have them here in certain places.
Okay, start digging then,
Uh,
bro.
but yeah, I need
Start
to.
digging.
Yeah, at some point it'd be nice to upgrade to maybe a 4-bedroom or something with an office that I could just
Yeah.
have. Because I would eventually love to have something where I can invest a little more into diodes and setups and stuff.
Right.
Because I would
Right.
love to have options for photography, and plus to
Hmm.
showcase figures and awesome dioramas and stuff.
That's true. That's true. But in the same sense, like having them in that bedroom just shows that you're a romantic motherfucker because that's some
Yeah.
romantic shit going on there too. Let's be
Um,
honest. Romance
I
is
bet
not
you the
dead.
figures feel different because they've probably seen things that
Right.
they were like, "Well, I should have been left on the shelf.
I
Like,
thought
I don't
I
want
thought
to see this."
I want back in my package.
Yeah.
There's probably how many yeah, some of the figures when you wake up in the morning are doing
Yeah,
this.
right? Yeah, everything is falling forward. Like, it's
That's awesome. Do you guys? So you guys share anything? Like, is there like some? So you're this nerd. She's not really. But are there some things that you guys share? Whether a specific TV show or maybe like a certain something that you guys like. This is your guys' thing.
different TV shows, I haven't, I'm the boring I'm in that boring stage right now where like if I sit down to watch anything, I just fall asleep.
Oh,
So there hasn't
damn,
been
Grandpa.
anything
Okay.
recent, but
Uh-huh.
the latest thing, she hadn't watched it, so I was like, "Oh my god, you're gonna love it." She had we sat down and watched Dexter, the
Oh,
TV series, right? She had
yeah,
never
yeah,
seen that.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I
I was
didn't
a big
sit
fan.
and watch everything with her because, I'm lame again, but I told her, I'm like, I've seen everything. So it
Hmm.
was mostly, I'm just like, there were certain episodes and I'm like, I love this episode, so I'm going to rewatch it with you,
Yeah.
this and that. But that's been the latest thing we've watched. Even me, I'm trying to think of like something that I've recently watched. I guess the most recent thing is I went and watched the new Predator Badlands movie in the theaters. That's that's the most recent for me. So
Do you enjoy it?
Well, that and 13th Warrior, I rewatched that, what was
Which
it,
is
on Tuesday, I believe,
yeah.
so
Yeah, you were right up against the clock like I was
oh,
on that too.
dude,
That's so funny.
it was
So good.
perfect, man. I was like,
Yeah.
"Yes, I found it." I dug it out. I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, exactly. It's like, Indiana Jones in one of his
Yeah.
little temples. Yeah. Did you like Badlands?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought it was great.
Mhm.
I love where the franchise is going.
Mhm.
Again, I've been a big fan of the, Dark Horse, with the comic book series that they've
Right.
done. So the Predator and the Alien versus Predator series, and I always wanted more of, like, Yautja culture.
Mhm.
I wanted to see that portrayed in the big screen, and I think it was good. There was a certain thing, I mean, there were
I have
certain things that I could
critiques.
have gone a little bit without, like,
Yep.
the comic relief stuff was a
A little
little,
too much at
t
times.
it just took you out of the moment, right? I was like,
Yeah.
"Nah, it's a
Yeah.
bad placement for that," right? Because, like,
Mhm.
you're trying to kinda get the seriousness of the situation.
Mhm.
But I feel like with modern cinematography, like, you kinda get that a lot with
You
the
do.
you know
Everybody's a Taika Waititi now.
yeah, exactly, but, it was great, man, and I can't wait to see where the next chapter kinda takes us with that,
Mhm.
so
I I
I'm
think
into it.
I think Dan Trachtenberg knows the mission.
Mhm.
Clearly we've seen three pieces of things he's had a hand into. The Prey is very serious, and Prey is
Yep.
probably my favorite Predator, even compared to the first. I feel like that's tough to say, but I really loved Prey. And then the Killer of Killers. You had a really good mix of a lot of things, and I think animation is such a great gateway for
Oh,
really
100%.
good storytelling and hitting like such a variety of themes and things too, and still translating well as a big anime watcher, like, some cultures, Japanese culture, animations, their main kind of thing for the most part,
Mhm.
So
100%.
as somebody who's been watching anime for a
Oh,
good portion of my life, even with it, whether
mhm.
I knew it or not, from like Voltron, Robotech, and
Yes.
some of the greats like that, or even like one of my all-time favorites, Ronin Warriors, which is getting more
Ronin
serious now.
Warriors is getting yep, that's
they're
right.
getting they're getting some more stuff now, which is exciting. So but now to be able to see, like, we're, after 20 some years of really hammer, and we've always had Dragon Ball over here, but like, I think when Toonami started bringing like the big ones like Naruto and Bleach over here, I think
Yes.
that really kind of changed the scope of
Mhm.
animation to
Big
what I
O
think.
was, I
Yep.
remember Big O,
Hmm.
Inuyasha.
Yep. And Inuyasha is another big one.
Um, One of my favorites because I liked Gundam Wing, but that Gundam G
Gundam. Yeah.
Gundam, I think, yeah, G
Yeah.
Gundam
G
with the
Gundam.
with the different suits that were
Hmm.
representing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I fucking
That was
love
a
that
huge.
series
That was
so much,
big, big. So,
dude.
but yeah. So at the end of the day, I think Dan Trachtenberg, even with this being kind of like a
Mhm.
lot of levity, but still, like, I mean, some of those battle scenes that we seen like at the
Oh, dude.
beginning, like,
Uh-huh.
if that's how you're gonna start out Predator stuff, is in that first 10 minutes with that battle fight or scene. I'm
Dude.
gonna be hooked in any either way. I'm dialed in at that point. That
Mhm.
was that was pretty fucking gnarly. So
And, there was I think it was him that was talking about it, and after he mentioned it, it made 100% sense, was he said it's like a video game where you start out with a tutorial, right? And you start out with, like, all your stuff,
yeah, yeah,
and then you get dropped into the game, and it's like,
yup.
okay, you're building up again, like, you're starting anew, right? So,
Exactly. And like
it
that
truly was, like
that field where the plants, I
mhm.
looked over to my friends, it's like, this feels like a fucking video game.
Yeah.
This exactly felt like a video game.
Yeah, he's got his loadout, right? So he's getting ready. He's like, "Bam, I
Mhm,
got my fucking,"
mhm.
which I'm kinda sad because I really wanted to see all that shit in action. Like, I wanted to see the freaking, like, the bow and all
I
that
did
stuff,
too. I did too.
Well, you get to see the bow, but, like, he had the backpack,
Mhm.
um, and some other things. That sword is awesome, dude. I freaking love the sword and how it loops around. So, yeah, I
All of
would
it.
recommend people go watch it. I would,
Yeah, yeah,
I'd watch
for
it
sure.
again, actually.
For sure. Well, so last thing here to kind of talk about that, and we're gonna move into another topic, kind of in theme with talking about your wife here. So, does she know, or have you talked about the potential of you being caught at a Diddy party?
Yeah, right? Yeah. That's
So,
what happens, that's a peak party, that's not a Diddy party.
yeah, I don't know. I'm scouring that photo for some baby oil. So
Listen, there was, yeah, right? Johnson& and Johnson has made great profit, from the
So this isn't a Diddy party. You're going
No,
on record by
no,
saying that.
unfortunately, no Diddy party there. I'm
Okay.
sorry to break it to everybody, but,
Okay. Okay. I'm just double checking. You want to explain a little bit of that at all,
that
or
was a
nothing to
Como
explain?
party. Listen, what happens at, Savage Crucible events, that we attend, stays at the events, right? No.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I managed to do a little digging, so I just there you go.
Oh, man.
All right. So speaking of Savage here, so you kind of talked about where your toy collecting started. Again, your uncle early on in an early age, and I think you kind of also explained like was that Spider-Man toy was like your favorite sort of toy there, but where you're at right now, clearly, if you look behind you, you can see you've probably did you stop collecting? Let me ask that, I guess, first. Did you like? I know sometimes we ebb and flow with collecting, or have you pretty much always just been like pedal to the metal?
No, I definitely took that hiatus, from collecting, so with toy collecting too, I felt like, once, like Lord of the Rings for me, when that came out and then Toy Biz was just pumping out toys,
Yeah.
that's when, like, I guess you could say, like, I dove in deep. I was working, so I had some, income coming in, and I just dove in deep in that line, that Lord of the Rings, throughout the whole trilogy, right? So
Hmm.
I was getting a lot of those figures, if not almost everything that they came out with, right? So I was into that. I was getting, at the time, McFarlane was also doing his static stuff, so
Yeah.
I really like that because, to me, again, that's, people were like, those weren't action figures. Yes, they weren't action figures. I agree with you. They were very static. But at the same time, the paint applications and the overall designs and sculpts on those figures were
Yes.
amazing for the time, right? So
Hmm.
I was a big fan of that stuff. So I was getting a lot of Spawn, a lot of the
Hmm.
McFarlane stuff at the time. So like he was doing dragons. So I invested in those.
Underrated line. Very
Yep.
underrated line.
Yep. The Conan stuff that he did. I
I
was into
just
that
saw some at
stuff.
my antique store, by the way.
Hmm.
There's some McFarlane Conans down there, and I almost picked them up.
That Matrix, he did a lot of Matrix stuff, which he had done the Sentinel, which to me, like, it was probably one of the best. I mean, nobody's really done one since, but like that was wicked good, like for
Big
the time,
fan. Big fan.
So I was big into that. I stopped collecting Marvel Legends. I was big into the Toy Biz, Marvel stuff when it was kind of first rolling out.
Hmm.
Collected a little bit of the Legends when that kind of took over. I was really big into the Diamond Select stuff, but again,
Hmm.
that kind of pissed me off because their proportions a little whack. Like, I don't know, they didn't scale real. Like some of the designs they did would be banger, spot on, but some of the other ones, I'd be like, dude, why is Deadpool like a bulky, muscular dude? Like, I don't know, it was just off for me, but
Right.
it got to the point where I was kind of getting just uninterested in those figures, right? Marvel is always going to kind of just regurgitate, their characters. Um, so at that point, I got into Kabukiya statues, which I don't know if you
Oh
can
yeah. 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 Yeah.
see them. They're up top there. It's all
Hmm.
my Marvel stuff that I have is up
Nice.
there.
The artifacts, right? Yeah.
Yeah, artifact
Yep.
stuff.
Yep.
So I was doing Kotobukiya, and then I just kind of stopped for a very long period of time, up until reading some Greek mythology. I was really intrigued, and I was like, you know what? I wonder if there's any type of Greek inspired action figure, right? Like looking like a
Yeah.
hoplite or like a Greek warrior or soldier. So upon digging on the internet, I stumbled on Mythic Legions. So Mythic Legions had their Mercurians, which are very Greco-Roman inspired,
Yeah.
and I was fascinated, right? But at the time, I was late to the game, and there was no way of accessing that figure. But upon reading further into the line, I found out that they had other mythological and fantasy based characters, right? So I was very intrigued by that, and I dove very heavily into that. So that was kind of like my re-entry into toy collecting, you could say. So from that, it just kind of
Gotcha.
spanned out, into different lines, into Cesare, which I really love. That kind of scratches that, Roman gladiator itch, as far as those figures go. Then a lot of Chinese companies that are doing different things, like either demons or what have you. And then also too with Mythic Legions, I was really, really into the and my action figure custom stuff, which that's pretty much how got me involved with Harbinger Studios, and that kind of thing took off for me. Um, so yeah,
Yeah.
so I've been just kind of been back into the game. Really liking anything fantasy coming out. I think it's a great time to be a toy collector too, because there's so much new stuff coming out. Even from overseas, there's some great product. So
Yeah.
for all of us, it's a great time to be in it. And honestly, who knows how long it's gonna last? Like I feel like this is like one of those last hurrahs, because we're at that age now, right? Where we grew up with toys, so toys are still kind of a big part right now. But who knows, in a couple of years from now, these kids that are growing up with tablets and all sorts of different other things, if that's the same interest is gonna carry on. I hope it does.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah. It's that's a good point. It's kind of like how physical media is being taken over by the digital age, in the last decade,
exactly.
especially, so it almost kind of, it's big when you see, like, when you're going to cons and you're taking your children or your nieces and nephews to these cons, and they might be meeting people or artists or whatever, but also making sure, like, oh, look at these figures, right? Like, get them hooked onto those
Hmm.
sort of things, and appreciate the value of holding those things. Or, I remember growing up, I couldn't even imagine a world where, not growing up with a JC Penney catalog or some catalog and going through it for Christmas and saying, I want these TMNT turtle. I mean, those probably
Right.
don't exist anymore. I'm pretty sure they don't. But you know what I mean? Like, having that kind of thing, instead of, like, yeah, electronics are cool. I'm an electronic guy, but, like, at the end
Hmm.
of the day, like, still having something to put in your hand is still got a lot of value.
Not
So,
only that, I guess kind of something else that kills it for, even if kids were interested in this stuff nowadays, is the fact that, when you and I were growing up and we would go to Toys R Us or to
mhm.
KB Toys,
Yeah,
the shelves were stocked, right? So you were able to
to
go
the
in there and
brim.
you'd always find something, right? Whereas now you're going Walmart and Target, right? And it's like,
They got one aisle, maybe
yeah.
two.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, and you don't have anything of interest. I mean, at least to me, nothing that I like, but, you don't have a lot of stuff to choose from, so, I
Hmm.
guess that deters, because there are a lot of people that as soon as they, they don't follow something online, but as soon as they walk in the store and they see it, they'll be like, "Oh, what is this?" They'll be interested, and, you build interest from that, and then they further pursue it, but I feel like that doesn't really exist
Hmm.
anymore for people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's spot on, and it's so sad and just weird to, like, not either have those kind of things. Like, I had a Toy Works was the big one for me, which was an offshoot of KB Toys,
Mhm.
nearest to me because I grew up so rurally. And I just remember going in there and just, like, it would take me an hour just to walk through some of the
Oh.
aisles just to look at
Mhm.
everything, right? And now it's like, toy hunting still sometimes a big thing, but, like, I'm sometimes one of those people too, where, like, I like the convenience, or I know what I want. I'm going to get something online, like
Yeah.
doing something smart
Exactly,
and
yeah.
something that you should be doing, which is going to savagecrucible.com and buying your action figures, right? Let's be real. So, but how did you actually get involved with Harbinger? How in the shit did that come about? Is that something you can talk a little bit on?
Yeah, oh, 100%. So, I guess it all started with, my action figure customs, right? So, I love the 3D prints that company produced, right?
Hmm.
So, I got in touch with, Tim at the time. Tim's a very good friend of mine. So he was kinda like my introduction with that. I would get on, they would do, chats and stuff, so I would get on chats and talk with the crew, and getting to learn about him, and actually going to, what was it? Toylanta, where we debuted the Savage Crucible line. That's when I got to meet everybody for the first time, right?
Oh, wow.
So that's where I pitched the idea to them, that I really liked all the 3D printed stuff. And I thought it was great work, and I really wanted to get a behind the scenes look, for the artists that painted them, from the artists that created them,
Hmm.
and just really put the spotlight on them and get people to know about them and what they do, and what inspires them. So I came up with the Mike Figure Customs Painting Academy,
Hmm.
and that was a show that we, first started on YouTube. Our first episode is with Nikki. It's one of our most successful episodes that we had.
She's so
Um,
talented.
Yes, yes, very talented, and she goes through in that episode and does a full-on painted tutorial on an orc head. So, she does like a start to finish on there. So, it was great to kind of get her perspective on things, see how what it how she thinks when she's painting and all that, and plus people got, an inside look of how to paint something. So another thing that we would try to focus with those shows was trying to make it easier for people to get into customizing, right?
Hmm.
So people that were kind of hesitant, that they felt like they couldn't pick up a brush and do something. Well, here's a little tutorial to show you. Maybe it'll kind of guide you in the right direction, and you can get started in painting and all that. So
Awesome.
that eventually, I had Tim on there. We had some of the 3D artists on there as well. And then eventually Rob, just asked me if I could just take over for the Savage Crucible YouTube channel altogether. And
That's
we started
awesome.
that one and took off from there. And the rest is history. I've just been with Harbinger Studios. I give my creative input on certain things, so like if it's, for character development and stuff, or, accessory loads out and things like that. And all in all, I'm just very grateful and honored to have Rob keep me on, part of the team, and have me on this great journey that he's going through, along with everybody else, with Kevin and Matt and Lee and, Gordon,
Mhm.
Nikki, Tim, everybody. I love all the guys, Rubus. We all get along. And the fact that we're all like a global team,
Yeah.
just really goes to speak for itself, right? We get so many different perspectives from so many places around the world, which is great, so um, honestly, just an honor to be part of the team.
That's cool. That's awesome. To kind of hear how you were able to break in and be involved like that, man. Like, and you talk about everybody the way you do, and you everybody that I've seen interacting with people, or just whatever. I haven't had the privilege of getting to meet everybody quite yet, but knowing them from just the different groups and online or whatever. The big theme that I keep saying, and I keep telling this to Jay, is all the time, and I think I've even said it to you, is just like everybody's just so awesome. Like even the Savage Crucible streams, I think what I love so much about it is just that you guys are so transparent about stuff. You're listening to the people, or whatever it is, and it just feels like it's one of those kind of communities that right now still feels like this is really like fun loving, everybody supporting each other. You get into the Facebook group, and like I try to get on there as many of the posts as I can and like cheer people on,
Hmm.
with the work that they're doing, even if it's minimal stuff, or and everybody's kind of doing that. I love that. Like it's tough to find communities that are so positive and so welcoming and so uplifting of everybody around them. And that's where right now, that's why it's a sweet spot for people to get involved with Savage Crucible, because that's what you want, right?
Hmm.
And I feel like, I think I told you this too, like after the Titans Toy Expo, like your last stream after that, it was like your numbers whoop, like I think people are starting to see that and catch on maybe after Titans as well, which is exciting, right? So that's so cool. So
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, we've definitely grown as a channel. Definitely more people are tuning in and watching what we do. Transparency thing is something that we've hardly focused on from the beginning, right? So we wanted to be as transparent as possible.
Hmm.
We wanted to get out news as much as we possibly could, so everybody's
Hmm.
well informed with everything that's going on with Savage Crucible. And then again, I mean, from the days of MAFC, it was always something that we loved, is the creativity
Hmm.
and people sharing their artwork and their creations with us, right? So that's what we want. We want people having fun with their toys. We're not here to tell them how to play with their toys or which toys to play with. Everything is fair game, right? That's
Right.
why everything and anything can exist in the Crucible. We didn't limit it to our universe. So um everything that kind of goes into this toy line kind of leads into that, right? So we have the
Hmm.
portals and all that. So it's all about having fun and enjoying your toys, playing with them, posing them, taking photography, customizing them, kit
Hmm.
bashing them, all of that stuff. That's something that we strive for from the very beginning. And for people to actually show that online and share with their friends or share with us on our pages is honestly like we couldn't ask for anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. um what has been your favorite figure that's released so far that's out?
From Savage Crucible line.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, you got the doozy questions this time.
Hmm.
Um, Probably. It's funny because he grew on me a lot. Probably Krieger.
Krieger, okay. That's one that everybody's always hunting too, I feel like.
Yeah, yeah. He's I was, I wanted him. He was a cool character, but after having him in hand and the loadout and just the overall aesthetic look of him, yeah, he's a cool guy,
That's the
cool
one, okay.
character.
Okay. I feel like feel like Shielded Azara still is mine. I don't know, something about that.
Yeah, that one. Yeah,
Something about that character, man. I don't know. I mean, of course, I'm a big fan of like the Lamarians, anyways. But man, that character, I don't know, something about him, something about him. So you've been fortunate also, and are continuing to work with Frankie Frazetta. Is there any? Can you speak a little bit on how that came about, or is it is that
yeah.
something that I just kind of curious, like, and because like, and I always tell you, I love how he's always in the chats of those, and he's always clowning,
Hmm.
like, and I'm always trying to clown with him, like, I think that's such a great face for him to be of that brand, but like, how'd you get involved with him? That's pretty
Yeah.
gnarly.
First and foremost, I fucking love Frankie. He's such a cool and great dude, man. He's,
Yeah, you can tell.
first and foremost, having him talk about his grandfather's work. Like there's like, I don't think anybody can nobody can do it better, like the amount of information that guy has on all those art pieces, and just hearing him talk, right? I could just sit there and just listen to him talk about all
Mhm.
that stuff. Um and also what's amazing is, for me, like growing up and seeing that artwork in
Yeah,
comic books, right?
wild.
I never in a million years would I be like, you know what? I'm gonna hang out with his grandson one day,
Right,
like,
right, right. Wild.
So honestly, it's an honor, but the way that we kind of got in touch with them, again, it goes back to the MAFC days. Rob wanted to do a 3D printed sculpt of Death Dealer, right? So he
Mhm.
had the head, the shield, the axe, and the sword, and the sheath. So he reached out to the Frazetta Museum and basically told him, "Hey, I'd be interested in doing these 3D parts. Please let me know, how we can collaborate on them and yada
Yeah.
yada yada." So they reached back and told him that's totally cool. They worked something out, and Rob was able to put those parts, or put those parts out of 3D printed pieces. So that's the first interaction that we had. And then, kind of as we were developing into Savage Crucible, it was just an ongoing continuation of the relationship with the museum. So again, Rob reached out and said, "Hey, this is something that we're thinking of doing. We would love to include characters from your grandfather's work or father's work." And the rest is history with them. We've had Frankie come out to multiple shows with us. It's always
Mhm.
a pleasure having him there. It's always cool hearing him talk about other things too that are in his mind and he's thinking about. So hopefully some of those things come into fruition. But
Yeah, that'd be
all
great.
in all, it's just a great experience all around. Even his sister, Nicole, has come out to events with us and hung
That's
out.
awesome.
So we've been very, very blessed to have him be a part of this journey with us.
That's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, like I said, he's definitely a character, and I clearly I love
Yeah.
funny characters, and
Yeah, he busts my chops all the time, man,
yeah,
like
I believe it. I can fucking tell. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Um, so and this might be a slippery slope to ask you, but as far as the figures we know are coming out, because we're we got Elric coming out, we still got Death Dealer coming out here real soon. The Q1 we're getting the next or the last wave of the Kickstarter set up here, wave 3 there. And then of course, later into next year we're looking at wave 4 already. If you could dial down to maybe two characters, and this is gonna be tough, but two of these figures that are coming out, are there two that you're like the most maybe excited about? I'm not gonna put one on you. I decided to take that off the field, so I'm giving you two.
two of them, two of what's come. Oh man!
Two of everything. Yeah, it's a tough one, but I'm gonna bust your balls. I want to see.
All right, well, I could definitely give you one off
Hmm.
the top. Is Frankie in the chat?
I don't believe so. That yeah, right. I know. Because either one
Elric,
way or another. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Elric. Yeah.
Elric.
Yeah. 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 It's hard not to, man.
I
I
love
know.
everything about that character. Again, it's a character that I got to know a little bit more of
Hmm.
recently. Everything about him is great. The melancholy, the um, again, it's prior to good and evil. It's order and chaos. So I
Hmm.
love that about him. And the fact too that we're finally getting some armor in a fully plated character in Savage Crucible.
Fucking
That's
gnarly.
as that and that is the toy collector in me, right? I'm like,
Hmm.
yes, more parts, more pieces, more.
Right.
Um, yeah, and he just looks great. I think Kevin outdid himself, and I think
Hmm.
that that's something that is great is that anytime Kevin has anything for Zeta or anything, like, Elric, Michael Moorcock character, anything that comes to the fantasy, like novel characters like that, he like pours himself into it. And the sculpt just speaks for itself because
Mhm.
Elric, from the unhelmeted head to the helmeted head to the
All of
ring
it.
on his hand, it just looks, stunning. It's
Mhm.
such a cool figure. So that definitely is one that I'm really excited to get in hand. Oh man. Uh,
I know, because I threw Wave 4 in there too, which is kind of because I know you
oh
got a favorite in
dude.
there too. You're excited about.
Oh man. Probably the probably the Gorgon.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah,
Probably that Gorgon because that it just it
I
looks
know.
so cool to me, and it's just, it's part of Greek mythology as well, so
Mhm.
that speaks, volumes for me
Mhm.
as well.
Mhm.
So
Do you have a hand in
um
that? Did you have a
no,
hand
no,
in?
no, 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 I
Oh, really?
didn't,
You didn't even?
no,
Oh,
no
okay.
hand in
Okay.
that, but I just love it nonetheless. I think
Yeah.
it looks
Yeah.
great. The
Mhm.
armor too looks awesome. I love how the armor looks on it. And I'm just excited for that reptilian, for the snake reptilian guys too. I really
Mhm.
like how those forearms and shins are sculpted.
Oh, they look so good.
And that neck attachment is cool. So I'm really excited to get some of those guys in.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
would say Gorgon.
Yeah, I figured that was probably the second. Okay, awesome. Let me ask this, I guess, and then again, we'll kind of move on. But as far as Wave 3, is there one in that pack you're a fan? I know for me, it's of course Harbinger, but like, is that?
Harbinger. So it's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
For me, Wave 3 was probably my least liked wave out of the first 3 Kickstarter waves that we did.
Mm-hmm.
I really was like, "Oh my god, give me those barbarians, give me Jaeger."
Right.
Really wanted some of those lizards because, I discriminate against them, and I just want people to get slaughtered by my barbarians. Uh,
Right. Right. Right.
the fish guys, I guess I wanna say it's the League Striker. Is that the one with the red
Yeah, I
armor?
think he is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think he is.
The League Striker, just because I'm first and foremost, Tim did a great job painting that guy. But the armor layout on him is just awesome. How he has that lobster tail on the back, and then the design, because
Mm-hmm.
we amped that figure up a little bit from how we originally had released him. So I think his armor looks amazing, and the color too on that is really good. So I
Yeah.
would probably say the League Striker for sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah.
The
Again, I
Harbinger, I
know.
mean, hands
Yeah,
down,
he's
he's a cool
so
character.
fucking cool. Yeah,
He's
he's so
really
fucking
cool.
cool. So
So
fucking
you can't
cool.
go wrong. And he's the main baddie too. So
Yeah.
it's finally nice to get that guy in there. So
Mhm, mhm. So excited, so excited. So awesome. Well, we're gonna bring it on home here and run you through the gauntlet here of the let's set the tone questions. I kind of ask a little bit of everybody. Some of these questions I kind of throw in here. So, but no, I appreciate you sharing about your journey there too a little bit with Harbinger as well. Like clearly, as you know, like I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you if it weren't for Jay and just kind of getting like hooked instantly into the Savage Crucible line, and to the point where like I'm literally like I think I've told you before, I've canceled other pre-orders and other fiction action figure stuff, and I'm dialing back on other stuff just so I can put all my extra money and resources, because it's like every other couple weeks I'm like, do I need another slate? And I probably
oh,
do.
dude, it's
Or
yeah.
oh, this figure's back up, do I need a second one? I might need it, you know what I mean? So it's
It's
definitely
funny you say that, Tone, because my son, he was in here earlier and he was playing with one of my lizard men, and he's like, "Daddy, I really like this figure," and I'm like, "Shit, I guess I gotta buy you one now because you ain't playing with mine. Fuck, that's my
right.
shit."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like-
You might be a martial artist now, but no, you
yeah.
ain't playing my. Yeah, that's awesome.
I love that. There's this one meme too, right? He's like, "Dad, why do you have to go to work?" He's like, "So," so he's like, "So I can buy toys." And then his son's like, "But all my toys are shit." And the dad's like, "Mine aren't." Yeah,
I've seen the meme.
right.
I've seen it. Yep, yep, yep. That's it right there. That's it right there. Well, let me see. So, how about this? Can you name a fictional character, maybe a celebrity or somebody inspirational that maybe you looked up to as a kid?
Oh, that I looked up to as a kid. That was,
Mhm.
like, from a like, a movie or, just in
Yeah,
general?
it
Like,
could be
anything from
anything, yeah, any sort of media. It could be like I said, it could be a celeb, just maybe even if it's a inspirational real life figure, just somebody maybe that as a kid you were like, this is somebody I look up to.
dude, I don't know if this is a cliche answer, but Arnold Schwarzenegger probably.
Yeah, that's good.
That
That's good.
he to me, like, I probably grew up watching, like, a majority of his movies,
Mhm.
all the way, from, Conan to I mean, Total Recall to this day is one of my favorites,
Such a good movie.
to freaking
Yeah,
Kindergarten Cop. I love that movie too,
that's good
and,
too. Yeah.
Jingle All the Way, all that stuff, like, from comedy to serious stuff. I
Hmm.
was a big Arnold fan. Yes, I even liked him as, what was it? Freeze in the Batman movie, right?
Oh hell
Everybody
yeah, that was the good thing.
so,
That was the
dude,
only good thing
talk
about that
about
movie for me.
one-liners, dude.
Yeah,
Talk about
yeah,
the one-liners, all right?
yeah.
Corny as fuck, but
Chill
again,
out.
he delivered. You know? Everybody
Yeah.
chill.
Ah.
Like,
Whoa. Okay, he's coming with
Yeah.
the. Okay, okay, okay. Respect.
Um, yeah, I would probably have to say Arnold, man,
Okay.
and what a cool story too, like, right? He came to the United States, like, was
Hmm.
Mr. Universe, a great movie, career, he became the governor. What if all those things happen to you, what in your mind would be like, "I can't fuck my maid." Like, like, "I can't cheat on my wife." Like, I mean, come on,
Fucking hell. Oh goddamn. That's pretty
dude.
funny. Uh, what is what's a controversial hot take that you have that maybe you're in the minority of? And it could be about anything, nerdoms, whatever. But it's a controversial hot take. You're gonna die on that hill. You're self aware, that it's maybe an awful thing or like a terrible movie, whatever it is. But what's something that you say is your one of your most controversial hot takes?
No, nothing beats late 80s, early 90s animation, like anime.
Okay,
I will die on that hill for
okay,
sure.
okay.
Like the visuals, and just just the storytelling and all
Hmm.
that. Like, I think that was just like golden, the
Yeah.
golden age, right? Like,
Like we're talking like
you know,
He-Man,
no, no,
Transform,
I'm
all that
talking like
stuff. Or we're
anime.
talking
So
like
like I'm talking like
are you talking anime?
Akira. Yeah, yeah,
Okay, like
yeah. Like,
Robotech
you know,
maybe.
Robotech, yeah.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
even like Ghost in the Shell, like the early
Yeah,
stuff, was good
Ninja
and all that.
Scroll.
Yeah, Ninja Scroll, exactly.
Hmm.
Yep.
Ronin Warriors again. I got to say it all the time as
Yep,
much as I can
Ronin
because it's one of
Warriors,
my
the
all-time
Guyver
faves.
series,
Yep.
like,
Okay,
um,
that's a good one.
even Berserk, dude. Berserk, one of the best. One of
Hmm.
my top favorites. I have the whole manga over here.
That's
Um,
cool. That's cool.
one of my favorite characters of all time, Guts,
Guts.
like,
Yep.
talk about a fucking emotional roller coaster of a manga, dude, because that,
Hmm.
like, I've literally had to put certain books down and be like, dude, I need like 10 minutes from what the fuck I just
Damn.
like read, dude.
Wow.
Like,
Wow.
cause
Okay.
like anything goes, man. Like, anything goes, and it's pushes you to like the extent of, like, of all that.
Hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at that, man. Yep.
Brit's reading it right now. It's when you said that.
So
It's like, oh
he's
shit,
yeah.
she's working on those right
He's
now. Yeah.
what do you think of it so far, Britt? Let me know.
Yeah. I think she's pretty hooked, but she could also be lying to me. I don't
Yeah, it's
know.
so good. So, and if you like the manga, definitely check out the 90s anime, because that's
Hmm.
probably the best representation of the golden age.
Yeah. I got a buddy that's yep. There it is. Yep.
There, yep.
There it is.
Very nice.
Very nice. Yeah, yeah. I got a buddy that's been yelling at me for years about watching it as well too.
Oh,
That's one of
dude.
his
Yeah.
all-time favorites, and so that's
Dude,
resonates.
I put myself through the terrible 3D animated new series, right? That picks up after that, which
Yeah.
is basically like the Black Swordsman series and on
Hmm.
from there. Dude, it's bad, but at least I got to witness, Berserk, I guess, past that arc, right?
Yeah.
So
That's
I
fucking
wouldn't
cool.
really recommend it to many people, though.
Yeah, okay. So it's kind
It's
of like
rough.
how what is it? There's two different versions of Full Metal Alchemist, like Brotherhood
Yes,
and the not. It's like you got to watch the. Is it Brotherhood? This is a good one, right?
I think the
Brotherhood.
Brotherhood is the
Like,
good
yeah,
one. Yeah, you
yeah,
definitely have to watch Brotherhood. The
yeah.
same thing with Helsing. I think there's Helsing. The first one was like whack, dude. Like, it's its
Mhm.
own story. They redid Helsing. I think it's called like Helsing Ultimate or something like that, and it
That's the
actually
right shit.
follows the manga like book by
Mhm.
book. So
As it should. That's the way it
yeah,
should be.
yeah.
What's your favorite cereal growing up, either as a kid or maybe now as an adult?
They don't make it anymore. It was called Sunrise. I don't
Sunrise.
know if you guys remember. It was a lame cereal. It wasn't like a colorful one. It was kind
Right.
of like Chex, but it was like a honey flavored. And it came with like two different ones. One was like a light. It was like a hexagonal shaped, I guess, check looking
Or
piece,
maybe
and it
like
had
like a
honey on the
Crispex.
outside. It was really
Yeah.
good. But other
Yeah.
than that, I guess honeycomb. I love me some
Oh, you
honeycomb.
like some honeycomb? Okay. Okay.
Especially with those old school commercials too, with the
Yeah.
beast. Remember they eat it and they wild
Yeah.
out.
The brown
Yeah.
one. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It
Well,
never
I go
happened to
back.
me. I was always disappointed. I'm like, "What the fuck, man?"
Yeah. Where my fur? Where my
Where's that?
fur?
Yeah.
Where my fur? So I go back even farther because I loved honeycomb growing up as well as a kid too. But like in the '80s, we used to get like WWE wrestler posters.
Oh,
So every time
yes.
you got a box of cereal, you had a chance to get like one of 8 of those. So it was like a whole thing, like trying to get like I need to get Ultimate Warrior or something.
Yeah,
So
right.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Honeycomb is definitely one of my all time
You can
favorites.
feel it.
Yeah. Warriors,
Yeah.
warriors, who will take the
Feel the
control
sp
of the plane.
When he's like, "Feel the rocket, feel the
Yeah,
spice
yeah,
of rocket
with the
fuel."
rocket fuel. Yeah. Oh god, yeah. Oh god, yeah. So keeping all that you've learned in life, would you rather live forever or rewind time once to maybe change an event or a trajectory?
Um, I would probably go with rewind, man. I feel like
Mhm.
living forever, I don't know, just from what stuff that I've read, it'd probably go crazy, man. I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know. I guess it'd be cool to witness, things as they kinda happen, like, that'd be cool, but, um, going back and reliving certain things, that also would be amazing too,
Yeah.
or to go to a specific period in time,
Okay. Yeah.
would be awesome too. Like, I
Right.
would love to go to, like, medieval England and give, like, a peasant, like, a Dorito chip and see what happens, like
Yeah. Right. Next thing you know, you come
yeah.
back and everybody's literally a Dorito chip
Yeah,
somehow
everybody
genetically
exactly, right?
modified. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
No,
That's a
there's, like, been a war between the Cool Ranch and the, nacho cheese, like, for years on end.
right. Right. Right.
It's like
Right. That's fun.
nobody knows, like, the Crips or the Bloods, they just know the Cool Ranch or the nacho cheese.
Right, right. As you're talking about this, my mind is wandering with my imagination as a post-apocalyptic, like, Cool Ranch and
Yeah,
nacho cheese war, so
yeah.
you might be onto a new manga or maybe a figure or a story, so I
Listen,
should hold close to that. I'm just saying. Just
trademark.
saying. Yeah, yeah. You heard it here, everybody. Trademark here, right here.
That's right.
How about so last day on Earth, we got tomorrow, that there's a massive asteroid going to hit this. Bruce Willis did not fix it. We're in trouble. And you can choose up to 5 meal items for your last meal, 5 meal items and 2 drinks.
Mm, 5 meal items, right? Okay.
Hmm.
Um, alright, for one, I mean, people probably don't know what this is, but, one of my meal items, it would be suzukakia, which is like this, I guess, Greek version of meatballs, on
Mm,
rice that we do.
mm,
Yeah, that could probably be all 5 for me, but let's keep it
that's real.
interesting here.
Keeping it. That's real. Yeah.
You know?
That now that
Um,
sounds really good. Just like
yeah. No, it's oh
yeah.
my god, it's like my favorite.
Okay.
That's, probably some gyros for sure would be in there as well. Pizza,
Yeah.
uh,
What type
definitely
of
pizza.
pizza? Certain
See,
place, certain type of topping.
oh, man, it would probably have to be I loved Round Table Pizza in California. I
Okay.
loved the Round Table Pizza, and they had, like, this, like, just, like, old school pepperoni, right? The one that cups up.
The world, yeah, the
Oh,
old
dude,
world or
yeah,
whatever.
like,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just kinda,
yeah.
like, it has that little pool of grease in there, and you're just like,
Mhm.
"Oh, just, like, get in my pores," but,
Mhm, mhm,
that one and, what do we got? 2 more?
mhm.
Oh, man, I would probably go for some good, like, tonkatsu ramen, like, a really good tonkatsu ramen,
Ooh, okay,
like,
good.
just really
Respect.
good tonkatsu ramen, and then probably some, like, steak of some type, either, like, Wagyu or, like, a really good, like, filet or I don't know.
Okay.
Ribeye is good too, but it's not my favorite. I know I'm in the minority in that. Everybody
Yeah.
loves ribeye steak, but
I'm a New York strip guy, so I get it,
yeah, I love strip like, if it's a good strip and they know how to cook it
Yeah,
right, like,
right.
oh, you can't beat
How do
it.
you how do you like it cooked? How's that steak cooked?
Medium rare.
Yeah, that's the only way, in my opinion.
Medium rare.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay.
Because sometimes, like, see, like medium rare is perfect because medium rare is acceptable. And then if somebody is afraid to kind of push it to that medium rare, they'll give it to you rare, right? Which is also like okay, like if sometimes you order it rare,
Yeah.
they give it to you rare or they give it to you blue, which is like basically like blow its nose, wipe its ass, and put on the plate. So
Right. Right. Still mute. Still
yeah,
mooing.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly right. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think that's perfect for me, perfect temperature.
Okay.
And then as far as
Very good.
drinks.
Yeah. 2 drinks.
Two drinks would be one of my favorite beers that is no longer in production would be an Anchor Steam Amber. One of
Ooh,
my
an amber
favorite beers.
too.
That was like, oh, that was brewed in San Francisco, California.
Oh
Unfortunately, not
man,
around anymore.
an
That
amber.
and then orange Fanta, but the European version, not the fluorescent orange stuff that we drink here in the States.
U.S. Okay. Probably with like sugar and made over there, probably or something real too.
Yeah, it's different. It's more like an orange juice soda
Ooh. Okay.
in Europe. I don't know if you've ever had it. It's like light in
No.
color, really good, really good.
Okay.
So
Okay. No.
that'll
Okay. I
be that'll
respect it.
be it for me, I think.
Good. Good answers. Awesome. Good stuff. No, that was a good variety there. I respect it. A lot of respectable stuff in there for sure. Well, hey, that's the big questions here. I certainly appreciate you being able to pop on and doing this for finishing out, as I call, of course, the week of Stel. Um, you know, uh, like I said earlier, because of Hova literally putting a Savage Crucible figure in my hand one day and instantly hooking me once I started messing around with it. And this was still me teetering with like inbox, outbox kind of thing, but I knew I was trying to get to the point where I want
Mhm.
to customize,
Right.
paint, do some
Right.
photography, things in that nature. So I appreciate that ability through him being able to get to know you just from having you on like our first episode of Dungeon Banter. You could tell right away, and maybe you did too. Like, man, we're all like, dude, Stel's like one of the bros. Like, this was perfect. Like,
Yeah.
you're on the show once or twice already. And it's like this great rapport. Like, we're all nerding out about everything like that. So I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate being able to again take this time and be able to sit down and do this. I wanted to learn a little bit more about you, and this is always a good gateway for me instead of being just a weirdo, just messaging and be like, "Hey, what kind of food you like, man?"
Yeah,
Uh,
right. Yeah.
but
No,
you,
yeah, this was great. This
yeah,
was great, and thank you for having me on. I hope,
yeah,
I hope it was exciting for everyone,
it,
like I
very
told you
much.
before we started this, I can't I hate talking about myself. I don't feel comfortable with it, so um I feel like there's other people that definitely deserve the spotlight more than I do, but I appreciate you guys showing interest and like you said too, we get along just fine, so
Hmm.
we're all cut from the same cloth when it comes to
Absolutely.
nerding out and all that stuff. So you couldn't ask for anything better. Jay too, it was great. Jay, all the way back from when we were in at PowerCon in Ohio, and getting to meet him there, I believe, in person for the first time, and then coming out to Titans and showing support and all that stuff. Um, honestly, cool guys. Bringing those beers to. And
Yeah.
sharing those with us as well. Just great, So it's been a fun journey. I've been really enjoying it from that aspect as well of getting to know all these guys like you and everybody else that's in the toy community.
Hmm.
And just kind of connecting with that and talking about all this stuff that brings us together has been so much fun, So we love it. I love seeing everything that people post as far as their customs, stuff they're working on. So
It's exciting.
Tone, man, anytime you want some pointers or you want some help with anything, please reach out to me. I'm not
Appreciate
the best,
that.
but I definitely point you in the best direction that I know. But
Appreciate
yeah,
it. I
man,
do. Yeah. No.
thank you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we keep telling you, you are more than welcome anytime for being involved in any of our content. I do like these paint streams sometimes in the middle on Saturdays. If you ever see we're live and you got nothing to do and you want to pop on for a little bit and just even hang out and talk about. Last week we just sat around literally and just talked about bullshit, and it wasn't even guys that collect or do paint. It's some of my other friends. We're all just sitting in here just hanging out. I love that kind of that fun sort of stuff. Like people just getting to connect with like that. But we'll have you back on some dungeon banters. We wanted to have you
Cool.
on for those, so definitely look out for when
Hey,
those kind of
Britt,
come around too.
my birthday just passed. It was November 6th.
So, oh man, you're close to that. You're close to that Sagittarius season too. Then, so
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's right. You did just have a birthday. That's right. Yes. So, and then Julie out here did say that she was staring. Do you see that? She was staring at an old bottle of Anchor Steam just yesterday. Matter of fact, she is one of the
Oh,
local. She's a craft beer aficionado. So
dead
that's
unicorn.
yeah, yeah.
It's like,
Appreciate it.
what was that
But
for? I'm trying to remember what that. It's like, oh, was that Gone in 60 Seconds with Nicolas Cage, where he's like unicorn or something? He describes the car as a unicorn or something,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It was underrated movie. And as a big Nick Cage fan, it's also probably one of my more secret favorites of his. So,
Okay,
um,
yeah, that is a good
but
one. That is a good one.
it is. Let's go.
Yeah, yeah.
So you mentioned something earlier I do want to come back around on as well. You mentioned that you haven't played D&D, and I've brought it up a couple times, but I know Drasten would be more than happy to set up a one shot, and I'm gonna work with you and at least get you involved for like doing a one shot with some of us. We'll stream it, we'll have some fun. So I'll get you to play D&D if you want to
Yes.
play.
Yeah, I would love to. I would love
Okay,
to,
so
to do that.
good. Okay, we'll get it figured out. I know we keep talking about it, but we'll get through the holidays. And we'll figure out maybe early next year. And
Cool.
like I
Yeah.
said, if you talk to any of the guys too, like they're any of them, if Nikki or Tim or anybody wants to play some D&D, we could do it like it's a Harbinger Studios thing and get it online and let people in the community also like see and clown and have a good time. I think Tim would be a fucking wild person, a wild card to have in
Oh, yeah.
anything. Tim wild card in anything, but I think that would be a lot of
Oh,
fun for a
yes.
one shot. I think we have a good time for that too. So but before I kind of close it out fully, I do want to at least give a moment here to throw out some promoting there as well too, if you
Yeah,
want
do.
for Harbinger and things that's going on. Go ahead and promote yourself.
Oh, for me? Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, no,
I
I'm
thought you
talking.
were
No,
gonna
I'm
bring up
sorry.
some promotion.
No, no,
My
no.
bad.
For I mean
Um,
for you. Yeah.
yeah, so as far as Savage, I can't even talk now. So
You
as
got it.
far as
You got
Savage
it.
Crucible goes, we currently have our Wave 4 available for pre-order on our website, as well as some other things that we have in stock. So if you're looking to get something right away, we do have some in stock items, some
Mhm.
graphic novels, some other knickknacks as well. So definitely check that out on our website, savagecrucible.com. To keep up with news and updates, follow us on our YouTube channel, which again is just Savage Crucible, or follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, again under the Savage Crucible name, to keep up to date with news and just see what the team is doing, see some awesome customs and kid bashes, photography. That's all on social media as well. And we got some awesome stuff coming your way, some more Savage stuff coming your way. So stay in tune for all of that.
And once again, just to iterate, check out that website savagecrucible.com for everything
Yes.
Savage Crucible, because
Yeah, we got a timeline on there too. So if you're kind
yeah.
of worrying, or not worrying, but wondering, when a certain figure will be available and in your hands, we have an up-to-date timeline on there, so you can kind of check that out, see how we're
Mhm.
progressing with everything that we've announced so far. And again, dive into some lore if you want to learn about the lore. About the characters, great
Awesome.
information on there. We're even adding a section where we talk about everybody behind on the team. So if you want to know a little bit more
Ooh.
about the creators and all that, we have a section on there as well. So
So
definitely check it out. Ren's been doing an amazing job on that,
he
and
really
it's
has been.
loaded with information. So
Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna get a bio on the Throblin hopefully as well too. So
yes, yes,
as for me and the cruise, of course, make sure Monday night, 7 p.m. live Eastern time here on YouTube or Twitch. Check out Seven Dungeons, Drasten, and Hova and the rest of the crew over there. They're rolling their D&D campaign with the the I can't get
yeah.
my
Pass
fucking
it on
words
to
out
you
now.
now, don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no shit. Check out, yeah, exactly. Check out Seven Dungeons on YouTube. Check out their streams 7 p.m. every Monday for the Shadow Spark Chronicles. There, I got it out. It's a great campaign. Lots of good RP lately. Lots of shit going on. It's amazing. If you like D&D, if you're just into lore stuff, you got to check that out. So, then of course throughout the week, check out Half-Ass Beer Review, dropping some of those craft beer reviews when he is able. He's getting to the busy season now as somebody who works into the courier package kind of line of business. no bueno for his time, but some good stuff popping out there as well too. And then of course, World Makers Consortium. We had a show last night. Was not intended the way we planned it to. We had some technical difficulties and some things come up with some of the folks there. But you'll see us back next Friday or the Friday after, whenever things work out. They're going to get all that out soon as well too, as we finish out the shootout, which has been a great time to do that. And thank you to those guys for letting me be involved. And like I said, for is B&B content, Dude 79 is going to be putting out some video game streams probably over the next week. I might get something out there. I don't know. With the holidays, it might be a little tricky. So, other than that, just check out my Instagram, Fanboytone Instagram, for my Monday updates or any other bullshit I'm doing out there as well too. So, but again, thank you, Stel. It's been a pleasure to have you on here for
Thank
the
you,
week of
guys. Thanks
Stel.
everybody for tuning in too
Yeah,
and watching live. Thank you, guys.
yeah, appreciate everybody for popping in here and adding into that conversation. This is a great time to be able to do this. So I hope with that, everybody, if I don't see you, I hope you all have an amazing Thanksgiving. If you do take part in those things, make sure to fill up that plate nice and high with all the good stuffing and gravy on top of that. We will see you back real soon. Take care.